Cześć, witam Cię bardzo serdecznie w kolejnym odcinku ze Starfielda. Zostaw kciuka, subskrypcję, dzwoneczek i robimy sobie dzisiaj misję, która się nazywa Pierwszy kontakt. Dobra, weźmy sobie na wszelki wypadek broń. Zobaczmy, co tutaj się dzieje.
Human. Oh, we're human. From the planet Earth in the Sol system. Clearly you're not. You're obviously human, but how are you here? We didn't know any others left Earth.
Imagine what's going through these poor people's minds right now. There's no reason to tease.
Perhaps we should greet our guests.
Of course. Manners. I'm Captain Diana Brackenridge. This is Security Officer Bomani Reader. And this is Dr. Mabuti da Costa, one of our elders.
A pleasure to meet you.
You've come aboard the Earth colony ship Constant. Generations ago, we set forth from the planet Earth with the mission of colonizing a new habitable world in the spirit of our ancestors nearly a millennium ago. I see. As you may have presumed, we're in a bit of a bind. Our ship has finally completed its near 200-year journey from Earth, only to find our new home seemingly colonized by, well, we don't know. Communications haven't been successful, so your arrival is fortuitous. Perhaps you'd be willing to act as a middle person between ourselves and the others. We're not entirely sure. Our engineers believe it's possible that our technology just isn't compatible with theirs. All we hear when using them to communicate with anyone is a bunch of disturbing noise. It gave me the heebie-jeebies at first.
A to nie jest po prostu tak, że macie przestarzałą technologię? Jak 200 lat temu wyruszyliście? I to gdzieś w aktualnych czasach.
Well, the short answer is, we didn't. It's a generation ship, which is to say that most of us lived long, happy lives on board and passed our mission down to our children. It was never intended that the original crew would make it to our destination. The goal was always the preservation of the human race above all else. Though, it would seem that was perhaps a bit presumptuous. We do. Well, sort of. We saw structures using our surveying equipment. We've also seen the various ships pass us by. Some even seemed to want to communicate, but couldn't. Of course, we had no idea that they were being piloted by other humans. Ah, your question confirms one of our recent theories. It would seem that some form of faster-than-light travel or space-bending technology was invented during our long journey. That would explain why we would find people this far out into space. I guess technology leapfrogged us at some point. Interesting. I can only imagine that our predecessors didn't believe the technology would ever work, and so they made the decision to leave when they did. Of course, we know that now. Human or not, we were still unable to communicate our intentions. As soon as we discovered them, we fully expected negotiations would be necessary. Now then, please follow me. There's much to discuss first. We'll speak more on the matter once we reach the bridge. Dr. da Costa, you may return to your quarters.
Co tu się odwala w ogóle?
Thank you, Captain.
Oni wyruszyli 200 lat temu, czyli gdzieś mniej więcej w aktualnych naszych czasach.
I do not believe we have need to
I
fear our
tu
guests,
powinna być
but
strasznie
our
przestarzała technologia w takim razie. Na tym statku.
Welcome to the Earth colony ship Constant. In the early 2100s, my ancestor, Rupert Brackenridge, researched a number of scientific scenarios: climate change, asteroid impact, nuclear war, global pandemic, and more. Each scenario showed the likelihood of an extinction-level event to be within 50 years. He fully believed Earth was destined to be rendered uninhabitable. We've always assumed that's what happened. So, he gathered the best and brightest he could find, built the Constant, and set a course for this planet here. We were told that it was the largest, most advanced ship ever constructed on Earth at the time. If you can believe, entire generations have been born, lived, and died on this ship. It really goes to show that there are no limits to human ingenuity and perseverance.
No i co ty tu robisz? W ogóle nawet źródło tlenu mają jebani. Ładnie rozwinięte. Prowadź, kurwa. Miałaś gdzieś iść. To mnie nie okradam ich, bo to ludzie tacy sami jak my. Co mogę cyfrycha wziąć?
Now that we know what's out there, things are going to be more interesting.
The Constant is a peaceful ship.
Kurna, spory ten statek mają w sobie, no ale całe pokolenia żyły, tak?
Something from history slates that I have to say, with technology this outdated, I'm amazed this vessel is able to navigate at all. It's almost like walking through a museum.
Ty kurwa fajnie ich dom nazywasz, nie? Tak ogólnie. Oni tu mieszkają, żyją od stuleci, a ta... ale przestarzała technologia. W sumie to kurwa totalna chujnia, że tu możecie żyć w takich warunkach. XD.
Now that you're here, I can finally give my crew a chance at a new life. I think I'm coming up on 6 years now. I was only a teenager when my father died, passing command of the ship to me, as is tradition. Because of that, I've had to sort of learn as I go along, instead of taking years of study and apprenticeship under the prior captain. I think some people on the ship resent me for not having the level of experience as my predecessors. But at the same time, without my command, we likely wouldn't have made it here so quickly. A bit frazzled, as you can imagine. People are anxious about discovering that we're not alone, and also worried about what will come to pass. While we hope we can work out a deal with the people on the surface, they seem reluctant to reach out, so there's no telling what will come of that. I do know that we can't afford to stay here in orbit forever. The ship was built to sustain us for many years with backup provisions just in case, but even that will come to an end eventually. Difficult is the wrong word. It can be both challenging at times and also exciting. Our mission was to rebuild humanity on a distant world, believing that we were Earth's last hope. To think that while there has always been a Brackenridge in the captain's chair, that I am the one to finally oversee our journey's end is truly exhilarating. But with this stumbling block in our path, at this final moment, I fear tough choices will need to be made. Well, as I mentioned, we've been unsuccessful in communications with anyone up until you arrived, though not for lack of trying. But since you're asking, maybe you'd be willing to be a sort of diplomat between us and them as we attempt to resolve our situation. Does that sound agreeable to you? We suspect that our equipment is woefully obsolete compared to whatever you all have now. In all honesty, we never expected to need to communicate with anyone, so our comms aren't particularly robust. That limits our options. We even attempted communicating with lights and sounds, something we saw in an old movie, but I don't believe they picked up on it. If anything, it may have inadvertently alarmed them. I wish I could say that the satisfaction of helping others in need is sufficient, but I'm not getting that impression from you. I'm sure we can pull together some resources equivalent to whatever currency you use these days. We'll do what we can to make it worthwhile. And until then, you're free to make use of whatever facilities you need on our ship. Ah, so they have a name. Paradiso. And it sounds promising that they sent you here to speak with us. You see, we intended to settle here, but we assumed that they intend to defend their claim given their presence here. We'd like you to go speak to them on our behalf and help us negotiate a solution, preferably one that favors us. Excellent. Make no mistake, this is our planet, and we intend for them to see this our way. So, speak with their leadership and see if you can negotiate a solution on our behalf. Preferably, get them to see things our way. Report back to me and let me know what they say, and we'll go from there. We thought about it, but it simply won't do. I need to think about the distant future of our people. Sure, our first settlement may be small, but our predecessors dreamt of our new civilization spreading across the globe. That will be difficult if someone else plans to do the same. While we're not completely close to the idea of sharing, it's much easier if we have complete domain over this world. Now, it makes little sense to give up before you try. Thank you, and good luck.
Ty piarę pojebało.
Careful waving that fancy.
Jak ty, laska, uważasz, że ja ich kurwa przekonam do tego, żeby ci oddali całą planetę, jak oni już tu mieszkają od tysiącleci, od stuleci pewnie. Na dół, kurwa, nie wiem, gdzie ja mam iść.
Sure is nice to know there are other people out there.
O tu.
People always appreciate a good engineer, whether they know it or not.
Ja dupie, gdzie tu były schody? Nie no, tu.
Hey,
Kurwa, do kibla trafiłem, no hit.
we got strict rules around here.
Przechodziłem przez tamtą miejscówę? Nie, chyba. Może przechodziłem.
Never seen a ship like yours.
No jest wyjątkowy, bo kurna. To nie, czemu ja biegnę zamiast się tepnąć od razu. R. No może być ciężko, żeby ich przekonać, żeby wam planetę całą oddali. Możecie razem z nimi zamieszkać co najwyżej jakoś to ogarnąć, ale wątpię, że będą chcieli wam oddać planetę. Zwłaszcza planetę, gdzie jest bardzo duże podobieństwo do Ziemi, nie? No 32 stopnie Celsjusza, tak, tutaj mamy. Mamy również zawartość tlenu 24%. Chyba na Ziemi jest 21, jeśli się nie mylę. No i grawitacja 1,24, no to 0,24 większa od tego, co jest na Ziemi, tak? Bo rozumiem, że ten... Rozumiem, że ten wskaźnik odnosi się do grawitacji ziemskiej, nie?
One of these days.
Excuse me, you can't just waltz in there. Do you have an appointment? I'm afraid so, yes. Sorry, but that's just how it is with the board. They're generally very busy, so any outside parties need to book appointments in advance. I really don't, and I can't have you barging in on the executives while they're working. So if you need something, you can talk to me. That's the best I can do, I'm afraid. Oh, you're the one they're waiting for then. Do you need anything else from me before you meet with the board? What I could tell you would get me in a lot of trouble. Most of them are typical C-level execs. I doubt you even need to use your imagination for that. The ones that show up to work day to day, at least. I swear, I've never even met some of them, because they chill at their own private, secluded beach homes all the time. Anyway, be smart around Oliver. He's got a way of getting what he wants without you realizing it. And that's all I'll say. People were a little freaked out around here, understandably. It looks so different and it's so massive. We honestly thought we were under attack by an unknown entity. But then, nothing happened. It just stayed there. No one could communicate with it. And we've been very careful not to alert the resort guests. The board believed it would be bad for business. I can't speak for anyone else, but I've got a pretty high-pressure job working as the executive assistant to the Paradiso board. You can imagine, dealing with a team of execs, trying to manage all of their schedules and their other whims. But it pays well, and they give me a nice executive suite at the hotel to live in. So, it's not all bad. Free access to all the resort's amenities after work helps too. Sure. Have fun in the Shark Tank. And don't worry, even they call it that.
Enjoy your stay.
O ja
You're in our capable
pierdolę.
hands.
Poprawność polityczna nas kurwa kiedyś zgubi, nie? Tu siedzi niebinarna osoba.
I just feel that
A, nie
we
będę
should
tego
be
komentował.
focusing on the
Loads
natural
more interesting
beauty of
things to
this
do
place,
outside.
not our
No need to mill about in
amenities.
here. Not quite. We just don't answer to the Freestar Collective or the United Colonies. Makes things easier. We don't pay any taxes. We don't need to follow their laws. All the benefits, none of the drawbacks. And no one minds because half the politicians and other big shots love vacationing here. Works for everyone. We, the Paradiso Group, bought the rights to this planet years ago with the intent of turning it into the biggest and best resort in the universe. To that end, I'd say we've succeeded. As such, no other leisure enterprises may operate on the planet without renting land from us. But as you can see, none can afford such a deal. No, of course not. There's several more. We're just the ones who show up day to day. The others spend their time lazing on the beach or gallivanting off-world. Doesn't bother me, though. Less cooks in the kitchen means I get to make all the big decisions around here. Seems to be working out for us just fine. I am. And you must be the diplomat Giro told me about. Welcome, welcome. Normally I'd offer you an all-inclusive stay at our resort before we spoke. But given the circumstances, I'm going to cut to the chase. We've got our friends, the aliens, up there, causing all sorts of problems for our resort. You like that? The marketing team came up with it. The thought is, if we can't get rid of them, it might actually attract more tourism. Come see the aliens! We run a premier resort getaway here. We can't have our guests concocting stories about some budgy old ship hanging around up there. As it is, we've had to reroute our luxury liners round the other side of the planet on entry so no one sees it. It's bad for business. We need to nip this in the bud and take care of it before the tourists catch on and cause a scene. You'd be surprised what people fall for. Locally sourced island fruit essences, for instance. It's just the same old fruits brought over from Earth ages ago, but we get nearly 10 times the market for them. But you're right, no one's gonna buy aliens. Remind me to fire the marketing team. So, tell me, what's the actual deal with this massive eyesore of a ship, besides scaring people away? Well, that's something. Shame we can't just tell them kindly to bugger off. Something tells me that's not going to work. Now, tell me, what are we going to do about it? Give me some proposals, people. I need something to work with here.
We could offer to resettle them here. There's more than enough space.
They could stay here, temporarily, but it'll cost them. Quite a bit, too. They'd need to work off all their debts before being allowed to leave.
Maybe not. What if we help them get out of here? Outfit their ship with a grav drive so they can find a new home. We could even lend our engineers to help and give their captain an updated star map. What do you think?
Sounds costly. We can't absorb that cost, and it's unlikely they even have compatible currency, let alone enough for the transaction. Someone else would have to foot the bill.
Oh, I swear this would be a lot easier if they ceased to exist entirely. Anyway, Seema's got the right idea. Either works for me. Just tell me what you want to do. And which proposal will you be taking to the good captain? I assume there's a captain? Ah, good on you. You want to see a man named Benny St. James over at Hope Tech. He's the best in the business. If anyone can retrofit a 200-year-old ship with a modern grav drive, it'd be him. We'll coordinate our engineering team with his when you return, though you may have to help the Constance engineers prepare for it on their end. Good luck.
I know this was a difficult decision, but if it's any consolation, I think you've made the right choice. Compared to the destruction of their vessel and relegating them to a life of servitude, I'd say this is the best chance they've got.
Right. On behalf of the Paradiso Group, we appreciate your help.
There are millions of planets out there. People can go to any one of them.
No więc właśnie, też uważam, że to jest najrozsądniejsze wyjście. Bo albo mogliśmy ich rozjebać, albo mogliśmy ich zrobić z nich niewolników, tak jak właśnie to robi Unia Europejska pewnie. Bo już ten odcinek jest po wyborach dawno wrzucany i założę się, że kurwa PiS już nie rządzi. Mam nadzieję, że aczkolwiek też nie rządzi Tusk, no ale się zapatrzy za jakiś czas, bo na razie to jeszcze musimy poczekać. Przynajmniej ja muszę poczekać, bo wy już pewnie znacie wyniki wyborów. Dobra, gdzie oni są? A, bo ja po napęd muszę się udać. Dobra. Napęd grawitacyjny.
Welcome to the Freestar Collective. Please maintain your current course while we scan your ship. All right, we're done. Welcome to Hopetown.
Fajnie, że mogę wylądować, dzięki. Zobaczymy, jak to będzie. Wysiądź. Mam nadzieję, że nie będzie gorzej, ale wątpię, że też będzie lepiej. Dobra, idziemy. Hope. Odkryto lokację, dobrze. Musimy im kupić napęd, tak?
I remember meeting Ron Hope once.
Hope Tech.
Have things for you.
Hard to get better prices for a hull.
Kupmy ogólnie statek cały. Siema.
Hope Tech needs brave new innovations. We're so much more than space freight. Well, all of them. I've been with Mr. Hope since near the beginning. I think he appreciates my attention to detail and my focus on the fundamentals. Although he has been hinting that the R&D budget may dry up if I don't produce results. Oh, it's marvelous. Generally, they only care about efficiency, cost effectiveness, and reliability. Oh, sure, there are the odd complaints about comfort and lack of decent airflow, but they almost always side with the numbers. Sure, that sounds like me. What can I do for you? I'm a little busy, but I think I could spare some time. Oh, you should have just said that. Of course I can help you. Oliver sent a courier ahead of you. I did some research on ships from that era, and I have a decent idea what we're dealing with. So grav drives didn't really take off until after the ship was built. But I've got access to an ancient grav drive that looks like it could be compatible. It's some minor adjustments. It's in good shape, too. Parts not cheap, though. Neither is the labor. Just pay the combined cost of parts and labor, and it's yours. It's a pretty big ask, given how rare these old grav drives are. Maybe it is selfish of me to demand such a price. Tell you what, sounds like this is for a good cause. While I can't give you the part for free, I won't charge you for the work. You're darn right it is. I'll get to work on it right away. I recommend you go back to the ship and ask the captain to prepare for its retrofit. Standard stuff. I'm sure they have an engineer on board to help. We'll send the part along when it's ready and install it with the help of Oliver's people. Pleasure working with you.
No dobra, porozmawiaj z Aminem. To nieźle. Stary statek. Który został wysłany za jakieś, powiedzmy, 100 lat mniej więcej. Doleciał do celu i się okazało, że przez te 200 lat, a 300 od teraz, został już zasiedlony. Miejsce, do którego mieli się udać. Lipa trochę. Ja tych drzwi nie widziałem i tu kombinowałem, żeby przejść. Dobra.
I was hoping to talk to our visitor from outer space, and here you are! Welcome, welcome! I have a million burning questions, but I won't overwhelm you. There will be plenty of time for that later. Please, indulge me just a couple. How did you do it? Did humanity finally discover faster-than-light travel and eclipse our poor old ship? I knew it. It's incredible! I read about this technology in our archives from Earth, but it was only theoretical back then. Amazing! I'll have to learn more. Oh, I've got so many questions, but I'm being rude. I haven't even given you my name. Chief Engineer Kazemi, but you can call me Amin. And, I might add, I'm one of the reasons we're still floating out here today. Indeed. Thank you for being so kind and indulging me. You must understand how thrilling this news is for someone like me. Someone who suspected this encounter was, in fact, possible. Ah, great question. I do not know for sure, but I can venture a guess. All of the reading I've done on the matter suggests that at the time, there was uncertainty that the technology would ever work, or if it did, that it would work at the scale we needed. So, I trust they made the decision to strike out when they did, fully believing it was the only way. Some may say I'm a master of keeping things together with nothing but duct tape and bubblegum. Well, if we had any gum left. Pretty sure that ran out 100 years ago. When I'm not dealing with catastrophic engine failures, I manage the other engineers. We maintain all the machinery, computers, you name it. We keep the life support on, and the ship flying. Good luck out there.
Dobra, ale pogadamy z nim już w kolejnym odcinku. Na teraz to tyle. Dzięki serdeczne za oglądanie. Zostaw kciuka, subskrypcję, dzwoneczek i miłego popołudnia. Cześć.